on, whatever you want to do.
Okay, they're off. They're off. Hold on. Well, they're going. They're going. Okay, here we are. Yeah, we're here.
Hi. What?
Hello. This is the Health Tech Talk Show. I know we are often told that we don't announce it. This is the Health Tech Talk Show. I'm Kat. That's Lisa. That's Melissa.
Other way.
Melissa, who do we have on today? What's going on?
By the way, they just said in StreamYard that we could do like an intro video too every time. We could do like
I just saw that. I don't know how to do that.
Okay, fine. Melissa,
I don't know how to do that. We're gonna have to get some unpaid labor for that.
Michael Meucci, President and CEO of Arcadia, will be on today, as well as Miriam Paramore. She's the founder and CEO of RxUtility and the operating advisor at Goldman Sachs, and also known as Kat's mom.
Yes, she's also my mom, but not my biological mother, to be clear, for all those who are confused. But okay, hey, you guys, we have a lot of news this week because a lot happened, so we got to jump into it. All right, Melissa, just let us know if we screw anything up. Okay,
Holy
Lisa,
smokes.
here we are in the roller coaster, the Health IT roller coaster. Yeah,
this is true.
So much happened this week. In fact, so much that we actually used several people's tweets about all the things that happened to consolidate all the things into a few slides. So first, I just thought this was hilarious. Lisa sent this. And I did actually talk to at FQHC up in Boston, and they were like this guy in the back, which was crazy because it's an FQHC in Boston. And they were like, yeah, we're not in the Medicaid program.
Chilling.
We're a fee for service. We're good. And I laughed. So yeah, here we are. Okay, moving on to real news.
Man.
So our friend Otto, who did think that Miriam might be my biological mother and was backhanded in theory the other week in Nashville, he kind of summarized some of the stuff that happened this week.
This was a busy week. Like, I realize there's some like self-selecting situation here, but like a lot of stuff happened this week. A lot of stuff happened.
Oh yeah. Well, Lisa, we're allowed to self-select because you know what? We're not real media.
That's right. No ethics in journalism here.
Listen, if you're coming to the talk show, like you get what you get. I don't know what to say about that.
That's right.
But,
That's right. People saying the Daily Show was news, like the whole like for like decades. They're like the Daily Show is where I get my news. They're like it's a joke show, dummies. Like that's bad for you. Don't get your news from the comedians. Us.
It's not a joke show, but we might be a few degrees off on that. I don't know, but yeah, so a lot happened. So Otto, who is running, I think he told me his one-liner is we're taking on SureScripts. Which I feel like, you can see he's self-selecting his news as well. So FTC sues the PBMs. SureScripts is sold off to a PE firm, and CVS is exploring a breakup.
Yeah, it is definitely the long, cold winter for PBMs. Interesting change of tune. I think what we said a few months ago, or was it a year ago? Who knows? That like PBMs are the one entity in healthcare who takes money that people feel comfortable being mad at. Like, if we really were looking at like who's to blame for problems in healthcare, we'd be like that Spider-Man meme, everyone pointing to each other. It was like, we could all point at PBMs. They ruined healthcare.
Fuck them.
That was like, everyone was like, you know what? That one's going to work for us. Let's go with that. Yeah. So instead of looking in the mirror, we were like, PBMs, they're the reason all of healthcare sucks. And so here we go, right in front of you. Incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Miriam, who's going to be on later, can like kind of tell us more about that a little bit. She's got a lot going on there. So anyway, so crazy stuff going on there in pharmacy land. Wild. Then we had some companies that everybody predicted are going public are finally going public.
Woo! The macroeconomic conditions support finally Omada and Hinge, like long-standing digital health companies. I think Omada's been around for more than 10 years.
Like 100 years. Yes.
Yeah, 100
I think they've raised like
$1 bazillion. They're already valued at $1 billion. Which is fake money, but that's fine. And so they're gonna go public. We're back. Everyone was like, "We're back, baby." So here we go.
Yeah. Okay. And also, Lisa, can you tell me what Hinge does?
Yeah, totally. They actually are great. I would love to use Hinge, but it's not easy for an individual person to access. I think still they're doing musculoskeletal digital health, meaning like if I would like to do physical therapy, you don't actually necessarily need to go to a place to get that done. You can access a lot of those services really well, and like exercise plans and things like that through an app, a telemedicine like platform, and they're making all that happen. That's a really like laser lazy way of describing it, but truly like them and their competitors are in the musculoskeletal telehealth digital health space.
Yeah, I think every time I read that musculoskeletal digital health,
Musculoskeletal.
I'm like, what the hell is that? Turns out it's telehealth PT is what you're basically telling me. This is like
That's
whenever
the
I work
lazy
for a
way of
company,
describing it. Probably they're
I'm
like,
so
probably a product manager is probably rolling over their grave right now.
Yeah,
but
they're probably
basically.
like, someone park a black car outside of Kat McDavid's house. She's the worst. Let's take her
That's
out.
right.
Like, whatever. I feel like that would have already happened at this point if anyone wanted to do that. But yeah. Hey, so some of the drama here, and you'll see some of this a little bit in Nikhil's tweet. But like, there's been like all these companies IPO in the digital health space, and then they kind of like don't perform. Like, what are the thoughts here? This is even gonna are we gonna see the same thing? We're gonna see some flatlining.
Well, first
not even plateauing, flatlining.
Yeah. As somebody who lives in the Bay Area, like, please God, stop. No more IPOs, because we have our housing market is already trash. Like, more people who are like, were paper multimillionaires and now will be real multimillionaires is bad for my chances of ever buying another house. So that sucks. So don't like that. Happy for those people, but also it's going to totally, make it even more unaffordable to live here. Stop it.
They're all moving to Texas. They're not moving to your state anymore. They're coming to Texas. They're like moving in. They're going for it. Yeah. So you don't have to worry about them. People in Texas have to worry. I have to worry too, because all the movie stars are moving into Atlanta, and they just buy our little old houses with all their cash money, and we're like, some of us have real jobs. Yeah, it's like hard work over here. But yeah, well, this is exciting. There's a bunch of other companies that are allegedly supposed to file this year, according to the prophet, Raihan Faroqi. I believe he said there were 5. He predicted 5. We have to bring him back on to see if he was right later.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we do.
See what happens with that guy. Lisa, I think when you sent this to me, you said, Kat, we have killed Medicare Advantage, you and me, in our fake news show. We did it. It was all us 100% with our trash talking. I don't think that's true, but it's nice to think that we have, our 12 followers. I don't know.
I don't think that's true, but it is hilarious to think about. It's hilarious in the sense that a bunch of business models got blown into smithereens. Unfortunately, lots of changes at the same time. One of the themes of 2024 to 2025 is seek your remedy in the courts. And as we've talked about
remedies
before,
in the court.
All these payers are suing or pursuing administrative processes with CMS around their star ratings. If we recall the situation with Scan and the one phone call where it took more than 2 seconds to find an appropriate speaker of a French dialect, I believe it was, and that's what dinged them from a 4-star to a 3-star or a 3 to a 2 or whatever it was. And then they're like, sorry, no CMS, we are going to protest that one. So I think you'll see some of that with star ratings. If people's businesses are extremely threatened by a change in star ratings, you can bet that they will be pushing a little harder on those star ratings from CMS.
Yeah. I also feel like this is going to be like that world-class example of math I love, where somehow humanity's going to get totally tank, but also make billions of dollars. I feel like it's coming. I don't know how that works, but somehow the charts just always go up. I don't know with these guys. So we'll see what happens there. Okay. Yeah. Then back to the story of the past 2 weeks, Epic and Particle. So just so everybody knows, if you have a Stat News Plus subscription, Lisa Berry, our very own Lisa Berry, is quoted extensively in this article. This article I thought was amazing because it was basically poor care quality, but then also trash care quality, and then was sad about care quality, and then said care quality is the worst. Also, do know the company that runs care quality also runs TEFCA. They're the worst. We hate them. We love them also. It was I don't know what's going on in this one, but I love that Lisa was in it.
Yeah, I mean, my commentary, which is free to the public here, is really that governance matters. If it's about a trusted exchange framework, a network like that, you got to have trust. You got to have trust in the governance model. And when there's a risk there, then people will just stop participating, which is really bad. We need more interoperability. That's something that Kat and I definitely agree on. We don't agree on everything.
Yeah, we do. We don't always agree on the how. We agree on the what.
But we think it should happen. We think it should happen. More data exchange.
Yeah, we need
Trusted
more data
data
exchange. Trusted, yeah, it like legal
Yeah.
data exchange. I think we're both
Legal.
totally into that.
Legal data
Yeah,
exchange. We're good.
you know what's well here. So the next thing here is so first of all, I just want to tell you guys, I think everybody knows that His Talk is at least my favorite media outlet ever. Like I just love it. That guy just does what he does. Mr. H, Tim His Talk, whatever, with the bag over his head. Yeah, that guy says whatever he wants. And I feel like I would like to model ourselves off of him because you remember for like years, Lisa, he used to trash his biggest sponsors and they kept sponsoring him still. I feel like that is something we should aspire to.
That's a model for us. Yeah. We will take your money, but we will make fun of you.
Yeah, it's, you know what you're getting into. We might never make money, but they have a survey on the His Talk and Epic's winning. They were like basically who's got the stronger case. But Lisa, I talked to this lawyer yesterday. He seemed like he knew what he was talking about. It was like kind of a big deal. He's not, according to him, involved in this case. But he was like, Particle's already won. And I was like, are you kidding me? Because they are lying. And he was like, it's not about the case, Kat. It's about they just want Epic to get crushed for antitrust and like FGC's coming for them and whatever. And then he's like, Tefka's already trash. He went through the whole thing. And then I was like, man, like, I don't think you even like want data to flow. Like, I think you just want to be a lawyer and like make money, which I'm here for, but it was kind of sad. So,
well, I just want to like do a shout out because there was also an article today that came out that was so Fierce wrote a quick article about a local story from Madison about.
Oh no, that's on the next one.
Oh, sorry.
Boom.
Okay, great.
Boom.
But this is important because I provided you this link and then I read a little bit further. And this article from Heather was based on some reporting that was done locally in Wisconsin.
Local reporting.
I want to just do a little shout out to Wisconsin reporter JT Seskowski, who apparently showed up at like a regular old, like Lena Khan was doing a panel on like grocery prices and inflation. And this guy showed up and was like, hey, how about the Epic Particle case? Are you guys gonna write an amicus brief? I mean, solid work. I realized, like I super appreciate that someone was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ask Lena Khan what she thinks about this. That's great. She of course deferred and said like, I don't know, but like said that they, haven't decided yet if they're gonna write an amicus brief, if they're gonna join the case. Very interesting, definitely relevant. Good to be asking those questions. Shout out to local journalism.
Yeah, support your local journalists. We don't have many left. But yeah, we're actually reading this because I was like, oh, it's a big headline. I mostly only read headlines, Lisa, as you know, unless you tell me to read further. But I actually did read this one. And yeah, it looks like she was just kind of like, yeah, like we might. And then was saying like, it's, this kind of stuff is on our radar. And it actually sounded like as she gave examples as to why antitrust in healthcare, like, anti-competitive behavior is bad in healthcare. It sounded like she was actually referring to some Change Healthcare issues, right? Like big systems going down and data being, it actually sounded a little bit like that was like why it was on her radar a little more than anything, but that could just be me reading into it. But
totally. I mean, the issue that she called out was like, oh, if healthcare actors have like huge stores of data and then that's vulnerable to attack. Yeah, fair question. That's not the issue with Epic and Particle. However, Lena Khan strikes me as a very smart person. As I've said before, anytime she wants to come on the talk show, she is welcome. Lena Khan.
She can come on the talk show. Yep.
We will give you all.
Judy
we'll tell you all about our
industry.
Can come on too. Judy Faulkner. Yep. Anybody.
They can all come on. Everybody can come on the talk show. It's gonna be great. They can also sponsor us. Like it's totally.
I don't think that FTC is going to sponsor us, but yes.
Yeah. I don't think so. I agree. But anyway, developing news over here. I feel like everybody's got an opinion, so I guess we're just gonna see what happens. Although we hear that it sounds like both parties have not appealed the care quality resolution. So we'll see what happens, like if that's true or not. So Epic has, they put it in a freaking press release.
They accepted it, and it seems like they will then potentially release the information from the dispute, which is the big thing that Epic was asking for, and that I think folks are interested to see, what actually happened. If you're not on the inside, what actually happened?
Release the tapes.
Tapes.
Turns out your data, your genetic data that you gave 23andMe is now a asset to be sold. So congratulations, people like me. That's great. Good for us.
Yeah.
That's the thing when you read through those things and you check the I agree box, like this is what happens to you. You're going to be all over the internet.
But just really quickly going back to that though, just second, Kat, again, this is one of the problems we have in the United States of America. We do not have a comprehensive data privacy and protection law. And your genetic data, when you hand it over to 23andMe, as Kat noted, those T's and C's that you click through without actually reading, that's what this is. And so, in fact, your data are not protected by HIPAA. Enjoy. Oh, well.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe our next administration will make a law, Lisa. I don't know.
I'm Jewish, just to be clear. It's in my data. If you want to get me on that, I'm Jewish. It's one of my many like Western and Eastern European ethnicities but if you're trying to find one of them, it's me. I cannot control the weather though. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I am between 2 and 6% Jewish, so like depending on when I log into the portal and check it. But I'm also likely to have brown hair, so I feel like there's going to be a lot going on out there about me and you on the internet. But yeah, and then as a reminder, we are at Health. We're going to Health. It's going to be great. Melissa, I think we have how many more slots left? Like 2?
Just 1 or 2 at most. So
yeah, we're doing.
Gotta make your case.
Oh, she says we have 1. Yeah, we have 3 shows we're doing on Monday and Tuesday total, and Melissa's in charge. So email us at health@healthtechtalkshow.com if you want that last spot and maybe bribe her. We can be bought. So all right, moving on. Okay, we're gonna talk to real guests now. Yep. All right.
Perfect.
Yeah, Michael. So Michael's the CEO of Arcadia. He just bought President Anish Chopra. And amazing. I insulted him when I first met him. So here he is on the talk show. Here he is live.
You're the PR guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
also
Arcadia's PR.
You can't buy people. Like it's 2024. We acquired a business.
Aww.
Okay. Well, it's just America.
I don't want people to think I'm creating humans. I'm
not. Oh yeah. No, he's not.
Game.
He's not. It's not human trafficking.
He bought.
Arcadia bought Care Journey.
Yes, we did.
Which is a lovely company. It looks like we have some Arcadia Care Journey employees commenting. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, I saw that. I was super.
Yeah, look at that. Like supporting. Yeah, I mean, watch out. Yeah. So Michael, you're like an interesting person. We met you in Nashville. You met my mom, Miriam, and all kinds of crazy things happened. So tell us what Arcadia is, and then tell us what you think about this antitrust stuff.
Oh boy, hot topics. First of all, I'm very concerned about how many times you reference needing sponsorship. We should talk about that.
This is a $- show. Like we're in the red pretty much 24/7.
Oh, so you're like an HCIT company? I love that.
Luckily, I run a cash positive consultancy, so that's how we fund this.
This is not our primary jobs. This is our
we have real jobs.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Great. So Arcadia is a platform company. We partner with health plans, health systems, employers, governments, and some life sciences businesses to help them light up their data and activate it. We bring together and started the company to bring together EHR data and the meaningful use days, how to use it to drive performance management. That expanded to help organizations perform in alternative payment models. Today, we are managing a massive amount of data. My CISO is in my ear saying, don't talk about how much, but it's like data on like 150 million people. It's very cool. We work with some incredible customers. Basically, like if you think about a health system where you want to go when you have a really complicated health issue, like Cleveland Clinic or Intermountain, like they're our customers and like we love them dearly. And bringing together Care Journey brought in all this outside in data and like the brilliant brains of the Care Journey employees who are tremendously smart and super dedicated to using data to make a difference. So bringing together this like first party data infrastructure with third party data insights, all with a mission of making healthcare more data driven and ultimately helping us navigate through the roller coaster that we're on. I loved your slide because it's exactly where we are. I was in a meeting this week and someone said, so can we all agree that MA is dead? And I was like, whoa. Like 56% of consumers are choosing MA. Like, I don't think it can really be dead. It can be troubled, not dead.
Yeah. Well, that's what's interesting. So Lisa and I trash talk MA a lot. Mostly we're trash talking bad customer acquisition practices. Like, to be clear, that is typically what we trash. But we actually both often get in arguments with an individual who is very pro MA. And he's like, it actually, like, people really like it and choose it consistently. And it has like decent outcomes. So yeah, for all of our trash talking, which again is not necessarily about the actual work being done once you're in an MA plan, it seems to be, like, not the worst.
I mean, like, look, you shouldn't give someone golf clubs to sign up for a health plan, but like at the same time, like the concept of integrated benefits and medical and dental and international travel benefits for a Medicare beneficiary, like, thumbs up. I like that.
Yeah.
Like, I was joking in this meeting with this week where they were like, we need a Medicare Part E. And I was like, what's Part E? And they're like, basically med sup for vision, dental, and international travel. I was like, actually, that's kind of a cool product. It probably exists.
Are you going to start a new company?
No. God,
Oh,
no.
you're not going to, okay. I was going to say, you could, like, that could be you.
One is
Party.
Yeah, Party. Actually, that's a great company. Party. No, one is enough. Arcadia is like a full-time job, and then another one at the same time.
Yeah, but you do have a side hustle.
Yeah, I do. I have a side hustle. My federally qualified health center one?
No, the haberdashery.
Oh, that's like my husband's side hustle, and like it's not it's a full hustle. But he did have a clothing store, which is very cool and very fancy and very fun.
Okay. I mean, it sounded like, like I would like to have a side hustle like that. All of my businesses are unfortunately related.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, I highly recommend having a side hustle that has nothing to do with your primary hustle. Like going to Milan to like go to the Fendi showroom when like you're on your phone, like talking about ETL or Fire or Tefka. And then you're like looking at this guy in a fur or like looking at beautiful handbags you can like buy to bring back to the store. Very cool. There's more money in healthcare. Just
That's kind of how I feel about mushroom hunting, except I have not monetized the fact that I am the best mushroom hunter in the state of Georgia, but maybe TBD.
Yeah, I feel like that could be your side hustle, Kat. That you could, if you want to make it into a
do they grow truffles there? I had this like awesome truffle fish dish last night. It was
fantastic. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. We have pecan truffles here, but it's not actually a truffle. It's like fake. We tried to make it sound good, but we've got most other things down here. We got all kinds of stuff like morels. We got that. Follow me on Instagram to see all my mushroom travels. Okay, listen, Michael, what do you think? What do you think about Epic versus Particle?
Actually, I think the lawyer actually put it really well. It's not about Epic versus Particle. I think this is really about how do you make sure that you can preserve a culture of innovation in an industry that is desperately needing transformation and innovation. I have almost all of my customers use Epic. And we've done a pretty good job of staying out of Epic's crosshairs, but are they the easiest platform to work around? No, they're not, because they make it really hard to play in their ecosystem. And they do have a process by which you can either be in or out. And we're pretty lucky. We're kind of like in this like demilitarized zone in between being in and out. But like, when they had their app orchard, we were in, and it was like really easy for Epic customers to like buy in and use our product. And then app orchard got shut down and it got replaced with like Partner Pals. And like, we were not a Partner Pal. We were not a pal. And I'm like, oh, that's a bummer.
We're not a pal.
Partner Pals. Oh.
Yeah. What terrible name. Like, I want to go be like product naming and fix that for Epic.
That is not a problem that they identified. The names are part of the Epic lore and part of all, like, that is something that they would probably rate. Epic folks would rate as it's going great.
Yeah, sure.
They don't see any problem.
I actually say that, like, one of the number one complaints inside of my organization is like how we come up with our product names, which most of the time is like me or my co-founder being like, yeah, we should call that thing analytics, Arcadia Analytics. That's a good name. So I shouldn't throw stones in like very brittle glass houses. No, but I think, Epic is a force, and they've done a great job of rolling up the most impressive brands in healthcare. They have an immense amount of influence and control. And for all the right reasons, health systems say, if Epic can do it, we're going to put it in Epic, because that's how they justify spending ungodly amounts of money on a tech platform. That being said, like, it's not the most usable product. It's not a lot of the things they purport it to be. And they do have some behaviors that are questionable. That also said, I think that some of Particle's users were using Particle inappropriately. And I don't know enough to opine on if Particle knew that or not. We use Particle for certain things for treatment because it was a great way to on-ramp into networks, but not super extensively. And I think that there's also a bunch mixed into this Particle debate because a lot of people don't understand what rights are granted to data users under HIPAA, like the ability to de-identify data, unless it is specifically prohibited in the BAA. And so I think a lot of the angst around Particle and businesses like Particle is that, like, certain organizations don't really think about what they're signing up for when they sign up with vendors. And then when a vendor's like, yeah, I'm selling your data to Merck, all of a sudden someone's like, how do you do that? You're a bad actor. It's like, no, they're doing what they're allowed to do. Now, the question is like, where's the responsibility for that and the overall ecosystem? So it's a very complicated issue, but broadly, I think that it is bringing a conversation that's been happening kind of in the dark between a lot of entrepreneurs and innovators into the light. And, you know, Epic is not the only organization that's making things a little bit difficult in healthcare. We all work with Optum. They're challenging. Like, this exists with these monster organizations. And where I sit as someone who is pretty scaled, all things considered, is I look at this and try and figure out, like, how do we make sure that we are being a fair collaborator to entrepreneurs who want to be able to make a difference in healthcare, because we can't innovate as quickly as we once did because we have 200 customers and we have to maintain stability of a platform. So I think that, like, I can both relate to how Epic is acting, and I can also relate to the frustration of entrepreneurs and innovators. And I also hear from health system executives who are very happy users of Epic that they're concerned that Epic's behaviors may limit innovation. Like, I was in a meeting, a class meeting it was probably last year, and there was a panel, I think Advocate was on it, maybe Ascension, and I think John from Tampa General. And there was this, like, question from the audience is like, how do you differentiate when all of you use Epic, all of you use MyChart, your digital front door is just MyChart? Like, what's the differentiator when you're all using the same thing? And that, like, that's a bigger existential question. It's like, why is everybody spending their money on their own Epic when we're all doing the same thing? But then that's like a whole, like, nationalized healthcare I'm going to get crucified for.
Well, I mean, I think you really have this challenge of, like, honestly, no matter how good Epic's core offering is, I'm not opining in any direction.
It's like the best of the worst.
Sure. Well, that's what people say generally. No matter how good it is, every single hospital has a CIO and a CTO and they have their own perspective, and they have their own systems as well, and own parties they have to work with. So they come in and say, and Epic says, like, we can customize this to however you want to customize it. And by the way, that customization is what wins them, probably wins them those deals, helps them win against other EHRs. But then you have all of this debt that builds up when you have highly customized systems. Yeah. And then Epic then tries to do, like, a demand thing. They're like, okay, well, we'll give you credits if you implement all these things, but, like, there's not a standardized way of doing that. It's just, there are some structural problems here that are going to be really hard for any technology company to overcome.
Yeah, there's also, like, the good install credit of, like, if you do it the Epic way and you use their preferred partners, you get, like, a little bit of credit. That's kind of choosing winners and losers. I don't know. Do you guys know Seth Joseph at Forbes?
Yeah. He's been on the show. We love him.
Oh, he's one of my favorites.
I had fun with that guy a few weeks ago. He's great.
He's great.
Super smart.
He wrote a great article, and I thought it was really balanced. He said, look, there is Epic has done a lot of good. And you cannot, anybody who looks at Epic and says that they haven't is just, like, lying to you. They're a great company. They build a great culture. Some of our best employees have come out of Epic. Like, they're good. They're net neutral or positive. There are certain things they're doing very challenging. And I think that it's like a lot of businesses, but when you're at that size and scale, like, it really does have big impacts on the industry as a whole.
Yeah. And I'm also surprised. I mean, from your role, like, let's look at the other competitors in the market. Like, there's also sort of a lack of pressure from competition, as far as I can tell, right? We've talked about HCA and Meditech. We've talked about obviously what's happening with Oracle, Cerner, and all of the things there, and the losses in the market, and then the entrenchedness in the government market. Like in a well-functioning market of sorts, we would have interoperability and, basic data standards as like a floor, and then lots of competition on like great services and value. And like, I don't feel like that's happening. Is that your perspective? Like, tell me what you think about the competitive market there.
It's interesting. Probably 5 to 7, no, longer than that, 7 to 10 years ago, there was this moment of like, we should build an EHR. And we did all the like.
Everyone thought that, Michael. Everyone was like, we're going to build an EHR. No, do it.
Yeah, but seriously, no one in their right mind wants to build an EHR.
Right.
It's so complicated. And like, my hope for the overall like US healthcare industry is that with interop, which is advancing at a breakneck pace, there is not a day that goes by that's not fiery now that Anish is part of my management team.
I can only imagine. You're like, no more bulk fire. We're not doing bulk fire. I'm hanging up on you now. That's just me. Sorry, Anish.
Yeah. I was in a meeting the other day where we were talking about bulk fire. Oh, please. How hard could it be? Oh, boy.
Nadine came from Athena, so she does know how hard it is.
How hard it is to build an EHR.
So like my team, the core Arcadia analytics team, we've like a huge cohort of ex-Athenistas, a huge cohort of Epic folks. So like we have that DNA in the business. We don't want to do it. But like there's no incentive to build it. But what I think is interesting is with interoperability and with every health system and every payer becoming much more of a technology organization, I think you're going to see a trend like the travel industry where like Sabre underpins every travel app, whether it's Concur or Travelocity or whatever. Like they all call Sabre. It's like this AS400 app in the background. I kind of think EHRs are going to lose a little bit of their like chokehold on healthcare operations because you're going to create this middleware layer where you can create unique experiences for providers or for patients. And that's where we need to get to. And the interoperability push is really allowing us to have the open access. Now, there are some fundamental problems in the way interoperability is being implemented. You've got every EMR choosing what data they map into their patient access API. Like that's a whole, it's a whole disaster, but like we're making the right steps towards hopefully a health system where docs don't have to use EMRs on a day-to-day basis. And I think every doc out there is like cheering right now.
Yeah. Actually, Michael, that's a bit more apt comparison. Weirdly, I used to work at Virgin America, rest in peace, Virgin America. And because I worked in marketing and demand generation, a lot of the work that we did was based on, the pricing algorithms and how they relate to the actual booking system, of course, which was underlaid by Sabre. And at that time, now like more than a decade ago in the airline industry, there was a lot of innovation in that middleware layer to kind of get away from Sabre, get away, like not be as dependent on Sabre, because Sabre literally hadn't innovated in decades at that point. And so you had folks wanting to do add-on modules and upsell modules and ways to sort of bring in other aspects, other more dynamic aspects in the booking flow. And it was just truly like, that was the point of we can't change Sabre. We'll never get off Sabre or we'll collapse as an operating entity. So we're just going to build all of these middleware layers.
I mean, and that's like Epic in the US is too big to fail. And it's too dangerous. Like you can't have this organization fail because people will die. But what will change, there's like $1 trillion of waste in the healthcare system. Like everyone's talking about, the significant financial pressure on the healthcare system. Like, okay, like, you guys have walked through hospitals, serviced hospitals. I do the same thing. I look at all these organizations that complain about how hard it is. I'm like, you guys waste so much money. Like, please. That's like me complaining about my travel and expense budget, but also being on like 7 flights in 3 days. Like I could fix that.
Yeah.
Like there's waste everywhere. But the middleware layer is going to transform the way healthcare works. And I think AI, because we have to talk about AI, it's 2024, AI will also help with this. And I think there's a health system of the future in the not so distant future where people don't live in the EMR the way they do today.
Nice. I love it.
Michael, you have fans over here doing
Yeah.
stuff, believing in you. Hey,
Great.
so I want to ask, just given your business and the groups you work with and like, a lot of risk-bearing entities, what do you think about this?
Oh my God.
Thing?
First of all, can you say which FQHC in Boston?
No.
Okay. I'm on the board of the FQHC in Boston, and I was like,
was it his FQHC?
which one is which is yours?
I'm on the board of Fenway Health.
Oh no, it's not.
And like, it's interesting. It's a very unique FQHC. We have a lot of commercial patients. Commercial patients get paid less than Medicaid in Massachusetts because we don't have a wraparound. It's a whole thing. Anyway,
yeah.
Look, I think this is a real problem. I think that the economics of healthcare right now are really challenging, and I think that some folks in fee for service probably feel like this is a great time not to be in value. That being said, like, almost all of the conversations I've been in this week have been with self-funded employers being like, yeah, this has to stop. And we're going to put a lot of pressure to force our carriers to force providers into value-based contracts because of the fiduciary rule. And so like that fee for service doc may feel really good right now, but pain is coming for all of us.
Yeah. So you think that's the pressure is going to come in from the employers more than anything else?
Totally.
That's awesome.
I was in a discussion where do you guys know Rob Andrews from the Health Transformation Alliance? He's part of the Health Evo crowd, former senator.
Do you think he wants to sponsor our show?
Probably. I don't know. He was a congressman. I don't know. Do you want big politics sponsoring your show?
We'll take anybody. That's in the red for the show, so she's willing. She's open.
Yeah. It's too desperate. Maybe I can buy some influence. Maybe Particle.
Maybe Particle. You can't take money from Particle. Not after this. Not after this.
Jason's a great guy.
Yeah.
I
also don't know if they have any money to give us, so it's probably not something we'll ever have to consider.
Probably on their do not call list. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, do not call those girls. Do not call them. They are, don't even watch the show. No commenting. We'll fire you if you comment on the show.
Yeah. Where were we? How do we get here?
Value-based care.
Value-based care. Employers. So Rob Andrews, he runs this trade organization that represents a bunch of self-funded employers. They have plurality for like 4 million self-funded employees, and like their whole mission is how do you get employers to get their carriers to invest in more value solutions? And that's a big part of our research at Care Journey is like how do you identify high efficiency providers who are like the best networks? And what I think you're going to start to see is a lot more innovation in product design. You're going to start to see more virtual first products. I think you're going to start to see a lot more products that look a little bit more like HMOs for employees. Like everyone picks the PPO because why would you not? But at the same time, like we need to do something about just like the out of control trend. There was this great McKinsey slide. I won't be able to find it on the fly, but it showed like the growth rate of national health expenditure versus like projected inflation. And like the gap between the lines, it's been a long time since I took math. I think that's like the integral. I don't know. I was really bad at math, but like that gap between the lines, it's not great. And it's like not good for us as an economy. And we got to fix it.
Yeah.
So I think value is here to stay. I think value is going to continue to be reinvented. I think you're going to see more episodic models. And I think you're going to start to see, I'm a big believer in finding the good in everything, even bad. One of the best things that came out of the pandemic was everyone had to use virtual care. Like my mom had to do a virtual appointment. I remember the first time she had a virtual appointment, she's like, what do I do? I'm like, it's a Zoom call. She's like, well, what's that? I'm like, oh, right. You retired before Zoom, like ruined all of our lives. Like you just sit in your living room and you talk to your doctor on your phone and like they could see a picture of you. And she was like, oh, cool. That's awesome. I don't have to drive downtown. I don't have to park. I don't have to walk. Like people want this. And I think you can have like really cool engagement models around these digital first products. And like, this is my thoughts only, but like all of these value-based payment models that are experimenting through CMMI for seniors, like you're trying to change the behavior of a 65-year-old person. Like, not that that's that old, but like, please, like getting my parents to do something different. My parents are not that old. Like it's hard. And so like, let's train people when they're 20, how to consume healthcare responsibly. And that way, when they age into Medicare, we don't have like crazy overutilization and utilization in the wrong settings of care.
Yeah, I mean, 65 is easy, but like 75, 80, 85, 90 with people, living longer and longer is a lot harder right now.
Totally.
Yeah. So listen, we could talk to you for a long time about all this stuff,
You're great.
clearly. And you have good jokes and we're like into the vibes. We have to switch over to Miriam, but I have one tip from a fan out in the universe who says, we need to ask you about your dog.
Oh, which one? I have two. I have the best.
I didn't know. It was singular. It was not plural. So
Am I allowed to bring
there was a
guests? Am I
bone.
allowed to bring guests onto the show?
You can do that. Yes.
Absolutely.
Lisa often has guests as well. Dog guest.
Pickles.
Jesus Christ.
Hold on. I hear the story. She's coming. Come on.
Pickles.
Pickles is coming on the show.
Join us,
I have
Pickles.
two like incredible French bulldogs, and I don't have any children, so like they are literally my children. Here they go. I hear the running of the bulls. Come on. They're not coming. In addition to being a
camera
they're
shy.
kind of stupid, but they're amazing. So
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least they're cute.
For looks. Red for
they're amazing.
not brains.
Oh,
I hear
my
them
God.
scurrying around, but I'm not. No.
We believe they
They're
are all
amazing.
adorable.
And I appreciate. Oh, here she is. Oh,
Oh
This
my
is
God.
Pickles.
Oh my God.
IT
What
puppy,
the heck?
and
Oh
she's
my
Pretty
she's just the
sweet.
best.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Pickles.
Oh my
All
God.
right.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay.
And then this is
All right, Michael.
Oh,
You-
we got another one.
Oh my God.
Who's this
Wait,
one?
what's this one's name?
This is Florence, and the other one was Pickles.
Oh,
Yeah,
Florence and
they're great. They're the
Florence
dogs,
and
they're
Pickles.
the dogs that my customers pay for.
Nice.
fantastic. I hear for it. Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Hey, Michael, you're the best. We got to switch over to Miriam. You passed the test, so like you can come on later if you want.
I'll do your health
Absolutely.
segment.
Yeah. Well, we only have one more slot, so Melissa, you're gonna have to. I hope you impressed her enough with Pickles and Florence
Nice.
over here. So
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Thanks,
So
Michael.
Thanks, guys.
Great to
Great
meet
to see you.
you.
yeah, good to meet you again. All right. Now we got my mom, Miriam
Hi,
Paramore.
Miriam.
Okay. So it is. So I do often say Miriam's my mom or my work mom. Just to be clear, she is not my biological mother. It is biologically, theoretically possible that she could be, but
Unfortunately.
very unlikely. Yeah. So here she is. So Miriam has done many things, but she's currently the founder and CEO of RxUtility and an advisor to Goldman Sachs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so great to be here.
Also, yeah, and we also to talk about your political endeavors. So
Yeah.
you tell us where you want to start, Miriam. You got a lot going on.
I'm going to talk about all that. I was wondering, I just texted Melissa if he can come. Oh, Michael, he just said he'd heckle from the back, but I'm happy for him to stay on. I loved that whole dialogue. I was laughing so hard.
I'm back.
There he is.
And I was trying to say what I wanted to say while you guys were talking. I'm like, can I, but they can't hear me. But just a couple things off the top, like about Oracle. So Oracle has declared, as everyone knows, that their worldwide headquarters is going to be here in Nashville, and they're building out their campus on the only undeveloped part of the river downtown. And it's like thousands of acres, and they're going to have, I think it's 10,000 jobs that they're going to bring to Nashville. It's some
Wow.
number. It's going to be a 5-year project. They're doing a pedestrian and biking bridge across the river, and I could go on. It's not a commercial for them, but I think their strategy is a little bit of a leapfrog strategy of, kind of they lost so much, and then Oracle picked them up, and why not stay down while you're down and kind of try to come back from under and maybe have a little bit of a leapfrog over the epic, monolith. So I hope they do, well, since they're here in my hometown. They're going to drive a lot of commerce, but we'll see if they come up with a more friendly platform to the, for the cause of innovation that we were talking about before. I also wanted to say, check with me later, Kat, on the mushrooms, because I have, some personal interest in that, but it depends on the
No
kind of
psychedelics.
mushroom.
I do not form psychedelic mushrooms.
Eating
They are
mushrooms.
edible mushrooms, only to be clear.
Well,
mushrooms
but
are
we have a
edible,
whole
just
thing
for the
going
record.
on clinically with
That's true.
psychedelic mushrooms
Culinary.
that I'm interested in, because, if you haven't read or seen the Netflix special on how to change your mind, it's quite interesting, and created me experimenting with mushrooms, who's a person who's never done any drugs at all, but in a safe setting, just to see if I could experience this, what is this? What are these other senses that people talk about that can happen that we're not into when we're not connected to whatever part of your brain you get connected to with that? So I think it's a
Isn't it called synesthesia? Did I make that up? There's something where you can like see sounds or whatever, where you have colors.
That is synesthesia. That's right. You see sound as color. Like
yes, that one.
Yeah, something like that. Or you see color, hear color as sound. It's one of those. But anyway, it's an interesting experience. And, back in the 50s, there was all of this started with medical uses of psilocybin. And there was a lot of progress around use for depression and other disorders, alcohol abuse disorder, before the 60s came in and everything was sort of culturally, thrown into the, tune in, drop acid and drop out, or whatever that phrase was. And so now it's kind of
turn on, tune in, drop out.
There it is. And now that and ketamine and other things are coming sort of back into microdosing. All these things that we declared as bad or maybe good again. So it's just an interesting time. We'll see where that comes with medicine.
There's a really interesting.
But I also wanted to just say, I think that employer-driven innovation around incentive alignment is dead on. And I want to use that to kind of segue into what I'm doing with RxUtility. So thank you again so much for being here. Today I heard on Kaiser Health Foundation podcast that the Commonwealth report is out again, and the US got an F again. We are the worst of the 10 industrialized nations in terms of cost and outcomes. And the other 9 kind of cluster over here on the graph. And we're not just a little bit worse, we're way worse, off the chart worse. So, but I also have been in this for so long, I'm still optimistic, or try to look for optimism and have that personal mission around improving our US healthcare system through the power of information, because I really believe in that. And all of that started for me, as you guys know, with data, which is why I love having a chance to know Michael so much. And we're going to talk about this. So you'll hear the hook here, Michael, where I think there may be a chance for us to collaborate. We'll see. But in this disaster of a report card of F for the US healthcare system, there is an untold story that I'm so excited about. And that's why I started RxUtility. And that untold story is that pharma copay coupons amount to $10 billion a year of savings available for healthcare consumers. $10 billion every year through something as simple as a coupon. I'll show you exactly what I mean. This is how you know when pharma has a blockbuster drug. When you go to your primary care doctor for your annual checkup, which took you 4 months to get even an appointment for, this is an 11-page pamphlet about how to use everybody's favorite, quote, diabetic drug, which is weight loss, Wegovy now, right? When you
Vitamin O.
Huh?
Vitamin O. Vitamin O.
Take it.
Yeah.
When you get to this page, you will see that. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Ozempic savings card, patient pays as little as $25. But this is my favorite part, and I cannot tell you how excited I am. This has nothing to do with cost or quality, but it probably has a lot to do with waste. So when you have a blockbuster drug, you have an 11-page pamphlet, but it has a pocket in it. And in this hidden pocket, I would like to show you one of the favorite things I've ever seen in my 40-year career in healthcare. And it's called a packet insert. This is patient instructions for the drug. This is the same thing when you go to the pharmacy and they give you the bag and there's something stapled to the outside. The thing, you rip it off the staple and you throw it away so you can open the bag. This is a packet insert about the drug. Check me here, y'all. Can look? I wish I had Jeopardy music.
Oh my God.
Are you serious? I have to back up. Are you kidding me? Now,
it comes with props, y'all.
It's double-sided, y'all. And of course, no consumer-facing information about pharmaceuticals would be complete without the molecular graph.
Yeah.
So if I could calculate the amount of money that was spent on this that no one would ever read or even understand if they could, I think that might be a nice little exercise. But anyway, so I like Stacey Richter's pod on relentless health value. And she often says there's like no villains and no heroes in healthcare. It just kind of depends on your, point of view at any given time. I think pharma is wonderful up to the point of research, and they've certainly changed and saved the world. But once we get past commercialization, then we're into all of the nonsense that creates high prices in drugs and us paying 3 to 10 to 100 times more than other nations pay for the same drugs. And we know that we have a huge problem with access. 30% of Americans say they don't pick up their drugs because of cost. We have 40% of abandonment that happens if the copay is more than $20, which is a low copay. And then you have the compounding problem of high deductibles, and you have the compounding problem of tiered formularies where expensive and most of the new drugs, as everybody knows in the pipeline, are specialty drugs that tend to be expensive coming to market. And you have biosimilars, which replaced Humira, which is, I think, if not number one, they're in the top 2 or 3 drugs in the US. Walgreens threw it off their pharmacy last year. CVS threw it off their pharmacy this year to be replaced with biosimilars, which are much cheaper. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that there are millions and millions and millions and millions of people who take Humira. So what's the point of all of this? There is a tool for allowing people to afford their medication that's funded by pharma. And it's in these, something as silly as a coupon. And everybody knows what a coupon is. What these do is they buy down the copay. So they're called pharmaceutical copay coupons. I always get this question, isn't that just like GoodRx? No, it's not. So GoodRx are cash coupons. Oh, I love this, Nene. They're cash coupons. They're for people who are not using their insurance. And copay coupons are for people who are using their insurance. So when you look at that much money, then you realize the problem, as we published in our benchmark report, first ever benchmark report on copay, about 20% of these are used. So that's $8 billion a year of just pure waste that could go into a consumer's pocket. So why is that? And there are 2 reasons: lack of awareness and lack of distribution. If I didn't see this sitting on my doctor's counter, I wouldn't know it was there. And somebody can tell you, they may advise you that there's a copay. A nurse might say it, your doctor might say it, but there's no digital distribution of these coupons into our health IT ecosystem. So when we were talking about, like, let's take Epic's workflow or Cerner or Oracle, whomever, there's none of this information flowing into the e-prescribing module. And the facts are that there are 3 prices for every single drug that a consumer could get. There's the insured price, there's the cash price, and there's the copay price. So the copay price does not exist really for every drug, but it does exist for 1,215 drugs. And until I built it, there has been no database of all of these offerings or offers that Michael could even use in his workflow, or anybody else could use in their workflow if they wanted to, because there was no place to get it. And I was so motivated by that. Of all the things I've tried to do through the decades and watched value-based care with, hope and disappointment, when you stumble onto something that's actually right there and available, and you can mobilize it and democratize it, it's inspiring, to me to try to do that. So phase 1 of our business is focused on getting this out there. It's data as a service. We hope that in terms of, if you think of the patient journey, and I hate that so bad, but somebody gets sick, they go to the doctor, they have a prescription. At the point of prescribe, this can flow in very digitally because we put a simple API around it, and you can just ping it and you just ask the question, is there a coupon for this drug? That's it. And if so, we bring it back. You could do that at the point of dispense. So we're integrating with pharmacy management systems at the counter, so nobody has to look it up. You can do it at the discharge and the ADT feed. You can do it post-discharge if you're in one of the companies that's maybe using one of Michael's dashboards for population health management or chronic disease management. Everyone in the health IT ecosystem that touches a human touches their medication record, okay? So maybe you didn't get the coupon on the front end, you can get it on the back end. And these are designed to persist for the life of the therapy. So it's not really a trick. People worry, well, what's the catch?
Yeah.
Why do these exist? So pharmaceutical manufacturers make a decision when they bring a drug to market of how they're going to address what they call market access. And that includes making providers aware that the drug is there and teaching them, you know, the old rep coming to with the samples and about 60% of offices are no-call offices, meaning I don't want Jake Gyllenhaal coming in here, you know, with his trunk full of drugs, even though everyone wants Jake Gyllenhaal walking into everywhere. And I'm talking about
I mean, like, you knocked on my door.
I would love Jake Gyllenhaal to knock on any door, but I think the name of that movie is, I think it's Anne Hathaway, and it's sex, drugs, sex, love, and other drugs, or sex and other drugs, or something like that. It's a great movie.
Right.
It's a great movie. So, but anyway, so the only way we can learn about these things even existing is if they're digitally distributed. Pharma makes a decision that they're going to support market access by providing these copay coupons as part of going to market. Oh, love, drugs, and sex. Thank you, Melissa. So, why? So they want you to stay on brand. I just want the patient to afford the medication. I'm not pimping for pharma, but my goal is to get every single dollar into the hands of the consumer as long as they exist. As long as they're out there, let's get them to the people. And we have a huge health IT ecosystem, and they all have workflows. So I'm going to be a resource. That's why I called it RxUtility. It's a tool that any health IT software company can use that's touching medication, which is just about everybody. And let's see if we can bring down the cost of those drugs for the patients, and everybody wins. So that's the story, and I'm really excited about it. I think no one has done this before because it's not a simple thing to aggregate unless you're in bed with pharma, and I don't want to be. So I'm not funded by pharma. This is a Switzerland organization. You know, we're a data resource funded by subscriptions. You subscribe to the file, just like you would the Medispan drug file or the ICD file or something like that. You subscribe to the file, we keep it current, it's dynamic. And I have to tell you that we use AI, and that's the truth. So we use AI in product development, we use it in data aggregation, we use it in our QA process. I use it in my business, I use it to write my contracts. So I'm committed to not having a human lawyer. So I have 2 AI lawyers, one who helps me write contracts, and the other who checks the work of the first one.
Wow. Okay.
It's pretty remarkable what this stuff can do. So, you know, just to kind of close out that story, I'll bring it back to Michael's point about employers. These guys are looking for anything and everything to save money for their spend. I recently had a conversation with a CFO of a self-insured employer who has a $15 million healthcare spend out of their pocket. That's the checks they're writing. He said, 5 million of that is drugs. I want to bring that down. And back in the day, they used to just look to PBMs and say, go make deals for me. You know, I don't understand. It's too complicated. Just bring me a number. And PBMs, because they're formulary driven, might fight against something that would promote, you know, a specific brand, right?
We got an audience question here, Miriam. Audience question.
Hi, Tyson. No, I think she says worried that PBM reform will diminish the prevalence of coupons. They're really disconnected. PBMs are formulary driven. Coupons are a financial discount for brands, okay, specifically for brands. So, but employers no longer are satisfied because they've seen the lack of transparency in PBMs and the amount of money that the amount of ripoff that's going on with the employer-based benefit design people and the PBMs and all the rebates and the kickbacks. So
well, and it also, Miriam, it's putting them at risk of not being fiduciaries, which is
exactly.
They're starting to realize, oh shoot, we were supposed to be fiduciaries. Somebody called us on that, and we're not. Darn it.
That's exactly right. And so I think that motivation comes from their risk intolerance. If I'm supposed to be fiduciary responsible and I'm not. And then also I don't want to write a $5 million check if I can write a $4 million check. So what are my tools? So, my excitement in this, and it's a little bit interoperability. It's not as dense as what I used to do with HIPAA and high tech and all those things when I was a programmer 1,000 years ago and then ran clearinghouse companies and exchanges and other things. But to me, it's about data liquidity and it's about data equity. This is a simple thing, but it's powerful, and it hasn't been digitized, and it's certainly not mobile. So I'm very excited about getting that in the market, and then we will move into the hard work, which is removing the enrollment barriers. There's a lot of prior authorization work going on the medical side. There's an enrollment barrier going on the drug side. But if you're not knocking on the door, nobody will never knock it down. If you just pretend like the only thing people can do is call a call center, then then that's where we'll stay. Yeah,
totally. So Miriam, a question about this, because it all sounds like wonderful and amazing, but in healthcare, like someone's going to lose money here. Who is going to make less money when RxUtility is prolific?
Yeah, let's go down the list. So who wins? Let's go down the list of who wins. And
Who wins?
We'll find the loser. The provider wins because all they want is their patient to get the medicine they prescribe. And it is true that sometimes the branded versus the generic don't behave exactly the same. So sometimes the brand is better, but the physician just wants to write the script and not have to worry about it. We know 90% of all scripts are generic anyway. So we're only talking about the 10%, that are branded, but they're just the real expensive ones that people actually really, really need, or Americans really, really want for, whatever reason they want it.
Diabetes.
For diabetes, right.
Yeah.
So provider wins, patient wins because it is cheaper. So about 50% of these coupons bring the cost to $10 or less. 39% bring the cost to zero to the patient. And there are 1,215 coupons, 168 disease states. And so it's helpful. It's meaningful out there in the world of treating. Okay. The provider wins both on, say, patient satisfaction as well as medication adherence, which drive up stars, HEDIS, reimbursement, ching, cha-ching kind of things. Not only that they actually care about their patient, want them to be healthy. So now let's go to the employer. The employer's happy because the employer didn't have to pay any additional out of pocket for this thing to happen. Didn't cost them a dime for this to happen. Is the PBM happy? Probably not. They're probably the one actor who I could care less. I don't know how much we can cuss, but how much I cuss.
You know how much we can. You can do whatever you want,
whether they like it or not. And pharma probably likes it because they've got some people on brand. But I'm not getting paid by them, so that isn't my goal. My goal is patients can't afford medicine. They need all the help they can get. There's a tool called coupons. Let's get it out there. And I believe that our health IT ecosystem is so innovative and the tech has evolved so much that once people start seeing it, they will say, you know what, let's auto activate these things. We have the rights, that we were talking about data rights and data use rights before.
Yeah.
Michael was talking about people don't know what they have the ability to use or not. Well, a lot of these front end vendors, you talked about the digital front door, Lisa. A lot of these front-end vendors do have the patient demographic already and the right to use the data in workflow for TPO. So to use that data to turn on a coupon so that a patient doesn't have to go to a website or do something stupid, that's a good thing. That's just access to therapy. So I think the PBM is the potential loser, but I think they have so much pressure on them right now. They're not going to come looking for this problem.
Mm-hmm. Like Lisa's Spider-Man meme. We hate everybody else except we really hate those guys. Yeah. Well, Miriam, we are over time. So, and people can find out more. You are hiring. Find Miriam on LinkedIn, RxUtility.com. But give us 1 minute on the Women Healthcare Leaders for Progress. I think that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
So when Kamala Harris came out, I said to someone on the phone, I didn't know how depressed I was. until this happened. And they said, you have to write about it. You have to write about it. Everybody's saying it. So the first time ever, I've broken the wall between business and politics. And I put out that post. I didn't know how depressed I was on LinkedIn. And it started this kind of tide, such an overwhelming response. And so then Women Healthcare Leaders for Progress evolved. We have the open letter out there with over 500 signatures. We are proudly supporting Kamala Harris for president because we believe that it is in everyone's best interest for health. And we believe that it's a women's rights and an equal rights and a civil rights issue. Those things are on the line. Health, healthcare, policy, of course, but just basic human rights. And I want to be part of an America that looks like diversity and inclusion. I don't want to look like a part of America that says we have to go backwards and we're going to be a Gilead forward while we take women back 50 years. So it's so important to me that I was willing to put the professional, at risk. You always are told you never mix that. So I host a weekly meeting that is action specific, and we break down for people very easily. How do you canvas? We give them resources. How do you canvas? How do you text campaign, phone campaign, get a yard sign, postcard parties, letter mailing, everything. And we're committed to doing everything we can to support Kamala Harris and hopefully continue moving forward as a nation. Thank you for letting me say that.
Oh, absolutely. And Miriam does host those weekly calls. So I don't know, DM her to get on the calls. Mm-hmm. And cool things happen. There's a bunch of other awesome leaders working behind Miriam to make all that happen. So, all right, we're out of time. We're like over. I have a bunch of mom friends coming over to drink wine. It's also a book club, but it's mostly wine club. So I got to go. Michael, awesome to have you on the show. Miriam,
Michael,
thank you for coming back.
Miriam, you're great. We'll see you all soon.
You may have charmed Melissa into getting our last health spot. So I don't know what's going to happen. But anyway, we will see you all. Happy weekend.
Happy weekend, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you, Kat and Lisa and Melissa. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye,